everyone, welcome to Daily Dictation. This is an interactive video to help you practice your listening and writing skills in English. Today we're talking about sports. I'm going to read 5 sentences about this topic to you, and you will write down each sentence the best that you can. Afterwards, I'll show you the answers, I'll explain some grammar, and some spelling tips and tricks to help you improve. This video is for high intermediate English speakers. Let's get started. This is a skill that is best acquired if you practice every day. So there's new sentences each weekday for you, new topics each week, and 2 English levels offered if you find that this level is a little bit too tricky. The instructions for this activity. You will need a blank piece of paper and a pencil or a blank document that you can type into. 5 sentences will be read. Each sentence will be read 3 times and 1 more time at the end. You have to write down each sentence exactly as you hear it, and you will use your listening skills to do this. Try your best to apply the correct spelling, punctuation, and capitalization as you write down each sentence. You're going to see numbers 1 to 5 on the screen. Each number represents a different sentence that will be read. We're going to start with sentence number 1. Number 1. Even though her endurance is impressive, she knows that she has to improve her agility. Even though her endurance is impressive, she knows that she has to improve her agility. Even though her endurance is impressive, she knows that she has to improve her agility. Number 2. The player showed great sportsmanship by accepting his decision when the referee explained the call. The player showed great sportsmanship by accepting his decision when the referee explained the call. The player showed great sportsmanship by accepting his decision when the referee explained the call. Number 3. The team felt confident about their technique during the match because they practiced often. The team felt confident about their technique during the match because they practiced often. The team felt confident about their technique during the match because they practiced often. Number 4. His teammates encouraged him to maintain his stamina for the rest of the match. His teammates encouraged him to maintain his stamina for the rest of the match. His teammates encouraged him to maintain his stamina for the rest of the match. His teammates encouraged him to maintain his stamina for the rest of the match. Number 5. The coach reminded her that precision and athleticism are key in every play. The coach reminded her that precision and athleticism are key in every play. The coach reminded her that precision and athleticism are key in every play. I will read each sentence 1 more time, starting with number 1. Even though her endurance is impressive, she knows that she has to improve her agility. Number 2. The player showed great sportsmanship by accepting his decision when the referee explained the call. Number 3. The team felt confident about their technique during the match because they practiced often. Number 4, his teammates encouraged him to maintain his stamina for the rest of the match. Number 5, the coach reminded her that precision and athleticism are key in every play. All right, so that's all of our sentences for today. Let's get ready to check our answers. If you found that it was a little bit too fast, you can listen again and adjust the playback speed to make it go slower. If you just need to listen to specific sentences again, check the description for timestamps, and this will help you to go back to each sentence and listen again. Let's check our answers, starting with number 1. Even though her endurance is impressive, she knows that she has to improve her agility. So for this one, we have 2 clauses. We know that because we're starting with even though, which we know is a conjunction. And this clause, even though her endurance is impressive, it doesn't make sense if we put it alone. It cannot be its own sentence because even though shows us that we are missing information. So this is a dependent clause, which is why we need a comma when it's finished. Now we're starting with a subject and verb right in the middle, which shows us that we're starting with a new clause. Then we have a that clause, that she has to improve her agility. So the that here signals that there's a that clause, which tells us more information about what she knows. And actually, in this specific case, it would be grammatically acceptable to eliminate the word that. So we could say, even though her endurance is impressive, she knows she has to improve her agility. That would make perfect sense also. So whatever you prefer, sometimes we like just putting the word that there for more clarity, but it's not essential. And that is our independent clause. So breaking this down a little bit more, we have is, knows, has to improve. All of this shows us that we're talking in the simple present. It's something that she knows at this moment. And overall, I think the spelling should be okay. The word though is very tricky because it looks like thought and through. So as you sound out this word, make sure you're not hearing the extra T in thought or the R in through. And if you're not hearing either of these, you know that though is correct. Nothing here, just O-U-G-H. So be mindful of that because this is one of the common misspellings. It's just not really thinking and adding these extra letters where they're not needed. Endurance is a tricky word. Split it up by ends, really focusing on the E-N at the beginning because some people want to put I there, but I is not correct. So if you put I at the beginning, it's not correct. It's E. Impressive. Just split it up with impressive and focus on the 2 S's here. Sometimes we just put 1, but we must put 2. And agility might be hard as well. It's up to you how you want to split it up. Agility. If that's how you want to split it up, that's fine. You can split it up in half. Agility. Whatever makes most sense for you, whatever helps you, but splitting it up into smaller bits does help with letter order. Let's go to number 2. The player showed great sportsmanship by accepting his decision when the referee explained the call. So there's a lot going on, but we actually don't need any commas here because we have an independent clause and then a dependent clause. So here's an independent clause. So the player showed great sportsmanship by accepting his decision. We could put that in its own sentence. If we put a period at the end, that would make perfect sense by itself. So we know it can stand alone. We know it can be independent, so it can be an independent clause. But the second bit, we have a conjunction when. The referee explained the call. So because we have this after, they're showing us that after this whole clause here is dependent. Now, when we start with independent and follow with dependent, then we don't need any commas between this clause, which is different because up here, if we start with dependent first and then independent comes second, we do need a comma. If independent is first, independent is second, then we do not need a comma. This is a very tricky rule to remember. You have to practice, 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 and memorize this rule. And so to break it down, the players is the subject, showed is the verb, great sportsmanship, that's the object. Then we have even more information by adding this preposition by. It shows us the process or what had happened in order to achieve this, accepting his decision. That's how it was shown, the great sportsmanship. That's how that was shown. Now, the spelling is a little bit tricky. We have a long word here, sportsmanship. Split it up into sports, man, then ship. Decision is hard as well. Decision is a good way to split that one up. And then referee can be tricky as well because there's so many E's. So we can do re. And that just helps you focus on an E in every part and the two E's at the end to make the long E sound. Let's look at number 3. The team felt confident about their technique during the match because they practiced often. So looking here, the team felt confident about their technique during the match. This is an independent clause. That can stand alone by itself. If you put a period after match, that would make perfect sense as a sentence. So we can call that an independent clause. Then we have because, which is a conjunction. Then they practiced often. So because we have a conjunction here, we know that we're going into a dependent clause, just like in sentence number 2. So we're going to follow the same rule. Independent first, dependent second, no comma. So that's why after match, we have no comma. Overall, the spelling should be okay, hopefully. A couple of tricky words, starting with technique. This one's tricky because it has a lot of words that don't follow its phonetic rules. So we have this CH, which actually makes the K sound. And neek, this usually has a kwa sound, but it's more sounding like a K here as well, like a long E and then a K. So how do you remember the spelling? We'll just spell it out in these smaller bits, but also remember the phonetic sounds, and you can pronounce it with the phonetic sounds if it helps you. So what would that sound like? Tech ni que. That's not how we say it, but if you need to say it like that to remember the spelling, then that's how you should do it. Practice is another tricky word because sometimes in some places you'll see practice with an S. Here in North America, we prefer C's. So it depends where you are learning your English. You might have spelled it with an S. If you spell practice with an S, you might be correct. But if you're sticking to the North American style, we prefer C. Number 4, his teammates encouraged him to maintain his stamina for the rest of the match. We only have one clause, so there's no commas needed. And let's have a look at the breakdown. His teammates is the subject, encourage is the verb. and him is the object. We're using an object pronoun, him. And so after this word encourage, we do have an infinitive here. His, which is a possessive adjective for the noun stamina. And then it tells us a little bit more information by adding the preposition for. And so this for is showing more information about the time, the rest of the match. So the rest of the match, we have two nouns here. So for is usually used to connect the noun on this side with the information on the left side of it. Some words that might be tricky to spell, teammates. A lot of people forget one of these M's, so split it up right here, team, mates, to help remember both of the M's in this one. Encouraged could be hard because there's a lot of vowels, and sometimes people want to put an I here because it sounds like I, but it's actually E. So age. You can split up into those three parts, and that should make it easier to remember. Maintain might be hard as well. Just focus. We have the same pattern here in here for letters. Maintain. The only thing that's different is the M and the T in both of the syllables. So maintain, same letters twice in each syllable. So remember that part. Now let's look at number 5. The coach reminded her that precision and athleticism are key in every play. We have another that clause here. So the coach is the subject, reminded is the verb, her is the object of the sentence, and we have an object pronoun, her. Then we have a that clause to provide us more information. And again, just like in number 1, we could drop the that here. It's still a that clause, but we can actually remove this. And sometimes we do that when we're speaking because we are lazy. So we could say the coach reminded her precision and athleticism are key in every place. So we can drop that in the that clause. And that would be perfectly correct for grammar. Make sure that you're putting are here, not is. You put is, it's not correct because we have not one but two nouns. So this is a noun and we have the word and this is a noun. So because we have two, it's plural, are. The spelling might have been tricky for these two bold words, pre, cis, ion, ism. That's how you're going to want to split these ones up to remind yourself of the letter order to improve your spelling if you got these ones right. Especially here, a lot of people forget this H, especially if your first language is French, because you might just hear the athleticism, but that's not how we pronounce it. It might sound like it if we say it really fast, but that's not correct. We like athleticism. So we make that TH unvoiced sound. So these bold words are some tricky words, but they're really good to know. They're more advanced if you plan on doing some kind of proficiency exam where there's an interview such as IELTS. This is a really common topic. So let me bring your attention to those bold words. The words that are a little bit more advanced about this topic that you should study are agility, stamina, strategy, precision, technique, fumble, equipment, endurance, sportsmanship, and athleticism. Make sure you know the different word forms. Make sure you feel comfortable with how to use these words. Put them in your own sentences when you're writing or when you're speaking. And make sure you look them up if you're not too sure what they mean and their synonyms. That's how you can use them. And again, if you use these during IELTS or an exam that has some kind of speaking interview with it, then it's going to show the examiner that you have a very good range of vocabulary using some of these advanced words. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep on trying your best and keep on practicing your English, and I'll see you next time. Bye.